exciting time for the program. The guys in that locker room, we just discussed things leading into an early game tomorrow, and if you don't have a season that's complete, you're not in this conversation. You don't have the honor of having this event here. So you have to do it. I've told you guys from game one, pitch one, you have to perform, and you have to perform all the way through the end of the season, into the conference tournament, and our guys did that. It was not easy. We were not healthy. We're not healthy now. It's part of the game. These other three teams probably aren't either. I'm proud of what our guys accomplished. It's not easy to be in the position of having this event at your home stadium. It's not. I'm proud of what the team has stood for, how they've played, the difficulty of the schedule, the difficulty of the middle of the week part of this, piggybacking into the ACC weekends is clearly a lot. It's tough. So this is a honor, reward to be in the position to manage this type of event. These are four really good teams. There's no real significant difference there in terms of the overall capabilities of the team. You could flip-flop this around. The way the teams play is a little bit different, and that's not uncommon. Everybody's personnel and style is different. You're going to see that here. These teams are all really good. You can take seeds. To me, you can throw this stuff out. It doesn't matter. These are winning programs. They're well coached. They're all athletic. They're all deep. So that's what you get this time of year. I think we have one of the toughest draws. I think when you talk to the other three coaches, they'd probably tell you the same thing. This is about as deep and difficult as a regional as I've seen, and I've seen a lot of them. So everybody in this, we have our work cut out, and every team in it has their work cut out to try to win something like this. We feel like with our team, we're looking at us. We think throwing Dorsey in the first game is the best way to manage the event. That should give some of the guys, as we piggyback and staff that game, a chance to recover. We hope Jamie can give us, it doesn't matter who it's against, we hope he can give us, a nice deep start. And that may or may not happen. This stuff rarely goes as you script it. You would hope that he can give us a good start, and then that maybe gives a couple of the arms a chance to recover a little bit, and you're not stressing and trying to staff or piggyback multiple games in a row. And it can still get to that. But that's our idea out of the gate, and we deliberated on that for days, and that's where we landed. So our team is excited. I know our fans are excited. I believe this sold out in less than 30 minutes. So our fans are the best, and we're going to need them. You have this here, and your team is familiar with the confines of the facility. The added bonus is you have your fans, and we need our fans to bring the intensity and the volume and create the atmosphere that we know Dick Howser Stadium can provide for our team.
Coach, how do you get one level above the team you're going to face? If you're saying it can go either way, what do you need to do to make sure your team is just one step higher?
Well, these games unfold in different ways. Clearly, management on the mound starts things in the right capacity to get into the game. The savviness of our defense, we've talked about that a lot this year. I think we've seen times where the athleticism and the savviness of our defense has been an asset to us. We have seen times when it hasn't, but I think as you look at 60 games, that has helped us. So the pitching in conjunction with some athletic, savvy defense usually gives you a chance to be difficult to score on. I think your really good teams are difficult to score on. And then offensively, the personality of the team, the beginning, the extra base hit, those things have seemed to become a trademark. We have run the bases okay at times. The stolen base has been a weapon. I can't say that it's something we've done as much as I would like to. And then if you need to use the short game, we've had times where some of our guys have been able to bunt and manage to scratch and claw that way. So having the ability to play a complete game is your goal. Then within the game itself, there will be moments that talk to you and tell us what we need to try to do to overcome it. It's hard to find or grasp for one way that you think you might win one of these games. Rarely do these things play out as you would sit here and try to script them. If all of you tried to write down right now what would happen in tomorrow's game and Saturday's game, me included, it's hard to be 100% accurate with that, and that's the beauty of the game. So you have to go play it, and you hope that there are moments that allow your team in one phase of this to win by a run, to become the better group that day.
What do you think Connor's role could be this weekend as far as how you guys have built him up?
Yeah, like we got to extend him last weekend, and that was really good. So we can do anything for him. He could clearly start. The trust level is so high that bringing him into leverage situations is fine. And with a left-handed starter tomorrow, it does give the team a different look if you have to go to him following Dorsey or Oxford or Holtz or Jamie. Or then you get hopefully to the third game and you see where your arsenal sits, and is he able to start and give you, like he did earlier in the season, he's almost back to a point where he can legitimately give you somewhat of a start. So we're going to have to use him as we see the game telling us to use him as we get into even tomorrow.
You talked during the season about having the approach be the same every game no matter who you're playing, and does it change all postseason, or is that just a continuation?
Well, you have to manage it a little bit differently when you're looking at the event, and you're not playing the same team 3 times. Like clearly you're going to have 2 different opponents the first 2 games, and once we get into this, you're playing to win the game that day, and you have to look at your personnel and your team and your pitching staff and think about how things have appeared to you through the long haul of the season, and that's what we're doing. Now, we're doing everything we can to try to put ourselves in a position to win tomorrow's game, and then the longevity of the event, you have to look at your personnel to try to figure out what aligns with giving you the best opportunity to win the event. Now you're in this. The end game of this is to find a way to win this. So in game, 100%. Like when you're looking at the holistic event with your personnel, what gives you the best opportunity to find a roadmap to the end result, which is hopefully a win.
You mentioned the other day that Cam was going to throw a bullpen on Wednesday. Just how did that go yesterday?
Didn't go good yesterday. Sunday in Charlotte went really well. Yesterday, not good. So he's not going to be available. That was a disappointing hour that we spent down there trying to work through that. There's a fine line when you're recovering from something like he has. It's not a serious, significant thing. It just takes some time, and I thought we were on the right track, and we probably still are on the correct track. It's just the time frame to think you're going to be able to really contribute in this event. It just seemed like after yesterday, it wasn't realistic. So if we can somehow get past this, does that give us another opportunity, another week? Sure it does. And we just have to assess this thing through the rehab process and the medical protocol to try to find a mechanism that allows him to give it a shot. And it's not going to be long. If it ever does come to fruition, it's probably still, a very short duration, like you saw with Whitaker or Ben Barrett as they eased back. So tough, frustrating for him, clearly frustrating for us. We were hoping he could do it, and after last Sunday morning, I really felt good about it. But yesterday was not a step in the right direction.
How much consideration did you give to Jamie starting game 1?
A lot. I mean, that's clearly a decision you had to make. And you look at your team and your staff and your personnel and how it's constructed, and it just seemed like the best thing to do was to let him try to bridge it and hopefully give us a nice start. It doesn't really matter who it's against. It just can't. And this is not uncommon in college baseball sometimes to use somebody that's proven to be a little bit more consistent than one of the other starters, to use them in the middle of it so that you get some recovery. Hopefully that's how you would draw this up. So the 2 days of our coaching staff trying to sort through that, not an easy decision, but with what we have, it seemed like that was the best way to get to the finish line properly.
Coach, you have a handful of guys from Jacksonville, one of the big guys, Daniel Cantu. How have their contributions helped get the Seminoles this far?
Daniel Cantu has had some huge days for us here. I mean, he's had some incredible offensive games. The maturity, the physicality, great person. The things he does at first base that just blend in are remarkable. Like how well he's managed manipulating to one side of the base or the other, and some of the short hop things and the quirkiness that comes up at first base. The college game is a high level game. Like the major league game is the highest level of this, and I think you take for granted at this level, on the big league level, how good defensive first basemen are and how easy they make things look and how much they tidy up for the rest of the infield. And our athleticism and the fielding percent, I'm not a big fielding percentage guy, but it does have some merit to it. He has helped that a lot. And there's things he does that will not show up on the fielding percentage necessarily that have really helped our team stabilize and play solid defense and do some above average things in the infield. So he's been truly a stabilizing factor in the locker room, at the plate, and at first base.
Coach, when you took over this program, I mean, you said your goal was to win a national title. For a guy that grew up literally right around the corner from the stadium, went to school across the street, just on a personal note, getting this program back to hosting a regional, getting them back in the postseason, just how much does that mean to you personally?
It means a ton. This is my blood and heart and soul here, and it's not easy to get to this moment and to try to win the next game. Like to even through the end of it, every one of those games in the conference tournament, as nice as the season was, as nice as whatever the start was where we won all the games in a row, you still feel like that next game. Like that next game is the most important one we've played in a long time. Then the next one. Then, gosh, if you win the next one, you're probably a national seed, which allows these fans to have a chance to have 2 rounds of this here. So it means the world to me to have the event here. And I was fortunate enough to do it, I guess, every year as a player. And this is the 4th university I've been able to be a part of hosting a regional at. And it's a game changer. Like the energy, the city, the difference when all of you and the people in the community realize that this is going to be here again, it just turns up the Bunsen burner and the excitement and the heat as to what this means for everybody in the community. And we deserve to have this here. The program was built on this sort of event. Now the next step is, okay, the guys have understood the reward. Now you have to deliver the goods and deliver the result. And they've responded pretty well all year to good and bad. So now there's really good in front of you. You have to go deliver the result.
What is Jamie Arnold's consistency week in, week out meant as far as you pretty much know what you're going to get when you send them out to the mound?
The maturity, the work ethic, the diligence of the craft, the weight room, the side work, the things on the mound that we did today. Like we touch and feel some things today, but the focus on becoming a holistic pitcher is real. Like he's really, really grasping that. And that is fun to watch. Quite frankly, it's why we do this. Like Jamie Arnold, if you ask him in April of last year, hey, let's fast forward to next June, and you tell us what it's like, what your stuff's like, how was your year? Our job is to try to get them to understand their capabilities and push them towards that. And it's fun to watch when an athlete takes ownership in self and aligns with what you're trying to get them to do as an athlete. And it's not just Micah and myself, it's Jamie Burleson, it's Phil Montano. Those guys are down the hallway right now, weight room, training room, arm care stuff. So it's not just when he rolls out and takes the mound, everybody's excited and he's throwing 96 mile an hour rising, whatever they are, fastballs and slide. The work that has gone into getting to see that is probably as enjoyable to me as what I see when he actually trots out there, because you see an athlete moving forward, and this time next year, the conveyor belt movement would tell you we're going to deliver an exceptional arm, and that's what it is right now. There's still more to learn. There's still more to harness, but it's fun. That's really why you do this, to watch some of these guys turn into what they've turned into. Some of them are young. We're talking some of the sophomores. It's pretty remarkable.
What have you always done the post-game talk on the field, in the outfield, and
Yes.
what do you get out of it, and how hard was it last year for those guys when the results weren't what they were hoping for?
I have an obligation to explain the game and what impacted the game, and some of this is obvious to people. Some of it is notations that I see that probably go lost in the shuffle of things, and I always feel the need to do that, and it's fresh, and sometimes fresh is good, sometimes fresh can be tough. But some of these things happen 3.5 hours before we actually get out there, and you might have forgotten that the first inning of the game decided the game. So you walk away, and win or lose, sometimes it's something that was so far prior to the meeting that we're having that I don't want it to get lost. So I always fill up my card based on what happened, and it starts here. So I'll have a meeting here before we go out that has topics, and we go over the scouting report and other things, and then I turn it to what happened in the game. And I feel like that moment consolidates the group and allows me to address what's going on in the program right then and there. And there's not a lot of distractions. Like, I've got them, and I just felt like that was the best way for me. Every coach has to do what they feel like is fitting of their personality and style, and I like that. And I get to say things that I need to get off my chest, some good, some bad. It's fresh to me, it's fresh to them. The emotion, I think, is good. Like, the kids sometimes need to feel that. Sometimes they need to understand that there's things that occurred in this game that are season changing, some good, some bad. So it's pretty intense, and it's good. And the guys, we break it down out there. You guys have heard the excitement, so you ride the wave of emotion, and thankfully this year a lot of that was good. But you're not going to win every game, so sometimes you have really tough losses in a good season that are impactful, and I use that time to try to address good wins, difficult innings, difficult pitches, tough decisions, good base running, bunting. I fill my card, and I go through it for those 10 minutes.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Is that enough?